Welcome to joining me for my first live Facebook reading and story writing workshop. I hope you're all doing well. And just a special thank you for Amaya and Scarlett, who I know are joining me. So hi, and everyone else who I know is joining me, just thank you. So as you might know, my name is Beth Shepherd, and I'm the author of the Ernie Gonzalez series. So these are the two books I've written so far. So I've got Ernie Gonzalez, The Determined Dreamer, and Ernie Gonzalez, Escape from Paradise. And I'm currently working on my new book called Revenge of the Thug Slugs. So I hope you're all doing well and enjoying a bit more home time at the moment and staying safe as well. So today I'm going to just be reading from my first book. I'm going to read you the first chapter. And then I've got an activity for you guys to do if you're interested. So I'll be telling you a bit more about that. And I will be sharing with you an awesome author tip to help you with your story writing. So let's get started. So first of all, my book, Ernie Gonzalez, The Determined Dreamer. Just a little bit about this book. So it's set in Spain. I wonder if some of you have actually been to Spain. I actually went to Spain and wrote this book while I was living there. Which is how I got the idea for this book. So Ernie Gonzalez, the brave Spanish snail, he has a dream, a really big dream, and he lives on a dusty plant pot by the side of the road with a massive family of other snails, and he is a bit fed up living there because there's no fresh vegetables, it's dusty, and he hears of a special snail garden that just is awesome, and he wants to go and live there, but no one believes that it exists. In fact, everyone makes fun of him for having his dream. So anyway, Ernie, being a determined dreamer as he is, decides that he's going to just go and find it anyway. So he waits and waits and waits for the perfect day, and then that day comes and he puts on his snail rucksack and he heads off down the road. He heads outside to his doorstep and waits, and he has a plan to jump inside the veggie box when the vegetable delivery man comes along. So he sits down, he waits, and the veggie box comes and he jumps in. Everything's going perfect. He thinks that it's going to be super easy and the veggie box will be delivered down the bottom of the hill, and he would just hop out and go into the garden. However, things don't always go as planned, and he ends up inside the veggie box almost being squashed between two beetroots, which wouldn't be good if you're a snail, right? So I'm going to pick up the story in the beginning where he is feeling fed up, like he wants to give up on his dreams. The first chapter is called An Icy Prison. Ernie lay in shock. He had fallen splat onto a rotten, soggy avocado and sunk down inside it. All that could be seen of him were his tentacles and his boggly eyes poking out from the green mush. He had given up trying to wriggle free. After all, his dream was well and truly over. He had proven everyone right. He was a daydreamer, and now he felt like a failed daydreamer. Okay, you can just see Ernie splat in the avocado. I'm wondering if you guys have ever tried an avocado. They're pretty good. Okay, it was Thursday, which was market day in the small Spanish village of Vinuela. The heat of the summer sun was blazing as a man carried a heavy box of vegetables back from the market. Ernie lay inside the box feeling sorry for himself and munching on the green avocado mush. Outside, he could hear a lot of banging and door shutting. And then, with one last slam of the door, everything went deadly silent, and darkness fell upon him. As he lay there in the stillness, surrounded by the warmth of the avocado, he suddenly noticed that his tentacles felt strangely cold. Despite feeling that his life had ended, he couldn't help wondering what was going on around him. Intrigued, he wriggled out of the avocado and landed on a cool cucumber. He looked around, but all he could see was a thick blanket of darkness. His heart began to race. He had no idea where he was. He felt confused, alone, and afraid. As the darkness pressed in around his tiny shell, he felt the temperature dropping rapidly. His slimy body began to shiver, and he noticed that his tentacles were beginning to stiffen, and his lips were turning blue. In a state of panic, he tried to escape, but his suction slime had turned to ice, and he felt himself beginning to slide down the depths of the box, down the cucumber into the depths of the box. Desperately, he fumbled around in the darkness, looking for something to hold on to. He was almost at the bottom of the box when he finally managed to wrap his stiff tentacles around the stalk of an apple. Ernie breathed a sigh of relief. As he swung in the air in the cold darkness, it dawned on him that this could be his last moment on Earth. But just then he heard a noise. It seemed to be footsteps coming towards him. Ernie was terrified. He had to hide in case they, whoever they were coming for him. Quickly he began to swing from side to side, gaining speed until eventually he managed to grab hold of the leaves on the top of a carrot. As he scrambled to pull himself under them, he somehow dislodged a large turnip. With a thud, it dropped down and hit the end of the carrot, flipping Ernie high up in the air and out of the veggie box. Smack! He felt himself hit the top of what seemed to be a large cold metal box. So I'm just wondering, I'm going to pause there, if anyone can guess what is the large cold metal box. So I just let you have a think about that. And let's carry on with the story and you can see if you were right. With speed, he came plummeting back down. Splodge! He landed on the soggy avocado once again. The footsteps came to a halt right outside the metal box. Ernie heard the sound of a door opening, and suddenly a dazzlingly bright light broke through the darkness. In an instant, the whole of the new world he had found himself in was lit up. For a moment or two, he was blinded by the light and the avocado mush. "This must be the doorway to heaven," he mumbled, wiping his eyes and climbing out of the avocado to explore this strange snail heaven. However, what he saw in front of him made him jump right out of his shell. Two huge human faces towered above him. They had opened the front of the cold metal box and were now looking right at him. Okay, I'm wondering if by now any of you have guessed what the cold metal box is. Just if you can see the picture. Okay, poor Ernie. Ernie felt the warmth coming back to his body and his tentacles beginning to defrost. "Phew, I'm not dying," he said. "I must be in someone's fridge." Hopefully you guessed it. Then, before he had time to work out what was going on, a large hand came straight towards him, and everything went black as he passed out and slid down the side of the cucumber into the depths of the box. Okay, so thank you guys for listening. So I have an activity for you to do. So I'm hoping that you love story writing as much as I do, or any kind of creative writing. It's so much fun and such a great way to be creative. So I would love if you guys could write what you think happens next in the story. So I'm sure you might have done this at school, but I'm giving you freedom to just be as creative as you want. So you could write it in any style that you want. So I've got some ideas, but I'm sure you've got some of your own ideas. So you could write it as a diary entry. So it could be the diary entry of the day that Ernie went in search for his dreams and what happened to him. Okay, don't forget to open the diary entry and to end it, to close it. Also, you could do a blurb. So you might like to write the back of the book, which I didn't read to you. You could do it as a newspaper article. That will be fun. I love newspaper articles. You might want to just do it as a story. So just complete the whole story. And then, as I said, you might have your own idea of a creative writing piece. Maybe try to do 1 or 2 paragraphs, but if you can fill a whole page, that would be awesome. So I would love it if you could send me your ideas, and I would love to share one of them the next time I do a live reading. So your mum and dad will be able to help you to find a way to share it. So you can go to my website, bethshepherd.com. So I promised you an author tip. So my tip for today, and I'll be sharing more of them as I go along, is one of my favorite tips, and I think is one of the most important tips for story writing, is planning. Okay, sounds really boring. Okay, no one likes to plan the story, but I can promise you, if you plan a story, you'll write a much better story. And that doesn't just apply to your stories, it applies to any creative writing piece. So if you choose to write a newspaper article, you need to plan that. So plan what you're going to write. And I think planning for a story is a bit like if you were to take a journey somewhere far that you don't know how to get to, and you didn't take a map, and you just said, I'm just going to go on my own with no map. I'm wondering what you think might happen to you. So if it was me, I think I will be zigzagging all over the place and I might be lost for days. So definitely when you're going on a journey, you need a map. So when you write a story or any creative writing piece, definitely plan it, because that is your map. So you won't get lost and you'll be able to bring the writing piece to a conclusion at the end. So I'm hoping that helps you with your story writing tip. And I just have some questions. Sorry, I've just got some names. So just saying hi to Chloe, Jamie, and Sienna. So they want to know if it's hard to write a book. So I'm going to be honest with you. Yes, of course it's hard to write a book, but it's fun as well. So I think you just need to keep going. Be a determined dreamer like Ernie. So if you decide you're going to do it, whether that's a book or a short story, or even just this creative writing piece that I've set you, just be determined to get to the end of it and finish it, just like Ernie. They've also said, how long did it take you to write a book? So my first book took me 4 years to write it. Okay, so I wasn't writing for the whole 4 years. That would be very long. I was planning it, thinking about it, put it down for a while, didn't do anything for a while. Okay, this book, I already planned and I just did it every day and I just persevered and pushed through, and it took me a year to write it, which is still a really long time, hey? Anyway, so I'm hoping that you enjoyed today. I'm hoping that you got something out of it and that you have a creative writing activity that you're excited to do. And I can't wait to hear what you think happens next in Ernie Gonzalez, The Determined Dreamer. And I can't wait to see some of them. So join me next time and I'll be sharing some more author tips and reading another chapter from the book. Also, don't forget to share your feedback. Tell me what you'd love to see or hear. That would be really great. Okay, take care, stay safe. Bye.